back on the escalator again.
Leave it alone.
What?
Comics.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
TV and movies. Wrestling. Music.
We are just getting started!
Finally, a podcast about things you actually care about, hosted by a couple of guys who actually care about those things too.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Maybe a little too much.
Yes, that's awesome.
The talented one, Chris Machete.
That no-talent ass clown became famous.
And Brenton, you know, that guy from your other favorite podcast.
I liked it. I was good at it.
So grab onto the handrail and don't let go.
Get ready! There's a little boy caught the escalator!
This is the Kids on the Escalator podcast.
Woo!
Here's CM and BD.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Kids, look at them. There they are. Woo!
The
oldest one right there.
There we go. Dun, 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 dun. Look at these guys.
Yeah.
Holy moly. Like, here, let's just make them full screen for a second.
There you go.
There, I was trying to make that
Left.
awkward. I actually had us out of the window to make it really awkward for these three. Look at
There
this.
they are.
Here, I'll take the graphic off so we can see the look
Far
at that.
left, we have Miles.
There they
Wave
are.
to everybody,
No.
Miles.
Yeah. Say hello. There's Miles.
Right in the middle.
Miles, much like his dad. Miles is 27 years old. Look at him. Look at that. 27 years old, just like his dad. Doesn't age a day. I mean, it's crazy. Who else we got there? Who else is
Luke's in the middle.
who's using the Schwartz there? Is that Luke? Yeah, Luke's using the
Wave,
Force.
Luke. Wave to everybody. There you go.
Uh-huh.
There's
There
Luke.
we go.
Right on. And then on the far right, we got, Master
Obi-Wan
Ben Kenobi there,
Yeah,
right?
we got Obi-Wan over
What's
there.
up, Ben? I haven't seen you in a
Over
while.
there.
How's it going, buddy?
That's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. Ben, I can't I'm really stoked to see you in your new series on Disney Plus.
Yeah, man. Tell us how is that working out with you and
Yeah,
Darth
how's that
Vader?
all
Are you
good?
guys getting along well, or what's going on there?
Hey, let me just double check in case you weren't sure, Ben. I just want to double check that it is you. Just stand by. Just look at the screen for 1 minute, Ben. There. We just want to make sure that this is you, so we can get you to sign our stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
The fight is done. We lost.
Stay hidden.
The key to hunting Jedi is patience. Jedi cannot help what they are. Their compassion leaves a trail. The Jedi Code is like an itch. He cannot help it. Where is he?
Ben, let me see your face. Just, Ben, come up to the camera for a minute. Just move up.
Here he is, young
Nice.
Ben, young Obi-Wan, right there.
You look way different than in that trailer.
You do.
Way different.
They put a beard on you and stuff, didn't they, dude? And that was how they did it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's a
Good
little
stuff,
bit
man.
odd. I'm way out. I think I have the wrong trailer. I don't know. It looks pretty good though, Ben. You stoked? Are you guys stoked for Obi-Wan Kenobi or what? I know your dad is. I know your dad is.
Okay, so we are currently sending information from here right now to Holly at work. So Holly's working. My wife Holly's working.
Where's she working?
One of Holly's boys. And she wants to know exactly every single thing about this podcast without actually viewing it. So I'm double live streaming. Does that work?
All right,
Copy.
there you go.
Oh, that's technology now, and you got Miles there to help you with that. So there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Anywho, welcome, my friends. It is the Monday night. It's the Kids on the Escalator podcast. Hello to everybody. There's no swears until the children are out of the room.
Oh yeah, we usually do. But you know, it's funny as my folks are watching right now, and they're probably having a heyday right now. My mom's probably just like, "Hey, look at all the kids, woo!" Right, Mom?
Gracious Gary and Dangerous Dorothy, just up there.
They're watching from up the road there right now.
That's right.
It. We all have to wear glasses these days. At least, man, I
Dent.
can't. It's funny. I can't see the screen without these things now. I just need them. Like, whoa, I can't see.
They're awesome, aren't they? You get
No,
laser
yeah.
vision. It's perfect.
I'm in trouble at a restaurant if I don't bring these, man. I'm ordering stuff.
Then you need to put yours on, and then the three of us need to be in the window like this, and then it'll be like the album cover from the Machete record, and then it will just be us in glasses, and then it's truly 30 years later. So
there you go.
There you
go.
But you're not sponsored by Costco like us. So
Oh, not yet. No. They've been hounding me for years.
Anyways, everybody at home hanging out, for everyone checking in, going, what's going on in the background of all these people? That's the Dent over there. The Dent, founding member of Machete with Chris Machete below. And then they politely asked me into the band with no drum set. And we went on to make records and do things and all the rest of it. And Dent's got a long storied history with us, and he's got a bunch of kids that don't age like him as well. So look at him there. That's him.
Actually,
anyway.
believe it or not, if you think about it, do you guys remember the last time you were ID'd for purchasing beer?
Been a long time for me. Chris, I don't know. You still get ID'd.
I don't remember what I did yesterday. To be honest with you, I don't know. Sure, I remember.
Okay, March 2020, I got ID'd for beer 2 years ago, and I was 46 at the time. It was great.
Nice.
I'm still the youngest guy on the panel. Well, I was the youngest guy.
You're not the youngest guy in the panel. What are you talking about?
I was the youngest guy on the panel until the gents joined here. Yeah. Gentlemen, it's happening. Mm-hmm.
Well, the good news is a couple of these guys need to go wash the dishes, and another guy's got to go finish his episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah. Take that.
We can let them retire for the evening, right?
Well, until we're done, it's going to be hopefully quick.
Well, how about you guys go wash the dishes and come back when you're done? All right.
Okay, I'm going to watch this on my...
Come back and do a magic trick or something for us. Put on some kind of skit. Reenact a part of Star Wars for us. That would be really cool, actually.
That's right. Dent, what's going on? Welcome back to the show, man. Welcome back to the show. That's right.
I've been practicing my CNN nod.
There you go. Perfect.
Nod, yeah. There we go.
I think I've mastered this one.
Oh, you got that. That's a nice.
Jury duty.
That's we are live on the Dean Blundell Network and all the things. Everyone, thanks for listening and watching and all the rest of it. Chris is nodding away. At this point, you could probably just ask Chris anything if he's in CNN nod mode. Go ahead, Dent. Go ahead, caller. Yeah. Well, if we're going to do it CNN style, we got to do it like this. So anyways, this is like a classic CNN look right now, isn't it? Dent, you're the guy, right? Aren't we doing that now?
Yeah. Well, I'm just waiting for somebody to say the T word. They have to push a little bit of an agenda with each episode or each stream.
Oh, we push agendas here. It's comic books and
yeah, good.
And pop culture and last week we tackled the Will Smith slap heard around the world.
I like conspiracy theories myself. Then I'm always saying but we didn't talk about this, Brent. You were mentioning last time, that the Will Smith thing, and I think I saw little Jimmy say that it was all a work.
It's still.
I want to hear more about this. Yeah, I love conspiracy. I'm not saying it was or it wasn't, but I love conspiracy theories. So can you expand on this whole hoax, the whole deal of it being a hoax? What is the deal with that?
The idea being that there is the initial idea that I'm hearing about it was that they were in on this gag about it being about racism in Hollywood still existing.
Okay.
How two black guys can walk up on stage, smack the shit out of each other, and everyone's just like, okay. But if Jack Nicholson walked up there and smacked Chris Rock, it would be like white guy smacks black guy.
So they were expecting. So they were expecting that the world would be smart enough to pick up on all those little je ne sais quoi of what they did.
Sure, right? I think
I'm just
that's
asking.
What,
I love conspiracy
but I think
theories,
it's changed. I think it's changed a bit now because he resigned from the academy and all the rest of it, and Chris is saying nothing, and so I think
his wife just mentally has him mentally in a really, really bad spot. But I just thought it was funny to hear the conspiracy theories of it, and how I was like, oh, it was all the work and it was this and that, and then you can see that he's just like, anyway.
Yeah, it's gone. Like Apple and Netflix are all jumping. Did you see it, Dent?
He heard it. Everybody heard it. He was sitting at home and was like,
what was that? SNL did a great bit this weekend with the. They're like, it was so crazy that even the people in the audience were Googling what just happened, even though they were in the audience.
I love Palpatine's reaction, man.
Which was
good. The evil flow. Good.
Let the evil flow.
Good. I loved his reaction. His reaction was the best reaction I thought of all of them. Anyway.
Oh, that's funny. That's crazy.
So any more conspiracy theories to tell? I guess no more, right?
I haven't heard anything more about it. Actually, it's
of anything else. So any other?
It's kind of dead. They've moved on to what they move on to. They moved on to Bruno Mars smoking on stage last night. That's the new controversy.
Was he smoking cigarettes or was he smoking?
Yes. No, smoking the cigarettes on stage.
Okay, well, yeah, I can see that being offensive. Actually,
that's the thing. Everyone's like, "Can we move on from that?"
I've been looking into. I love the rabbit holes of history and shit right now, and it's funny because right now the scientists are disproving the archaeologists, and they're battling it out, right? Because now scientists have these devices, and Dan, you probably know about drones that can see like through hundreds of whatever feet of ground or whatever, right? And they're discovering that all these pyramids are built on top of something, and all these other places, it wasn't what the archaeologists thought. It wasn't, Now they're finding more stuff that dates back even further. The Egyptians didn't create this and that. They built on top of this and they structured things around this. And of course, archaeologists are losing their shit because this is their life's work. And they're like, as they're watching their money go away. And scientists are going, no, watch, I'll put this drone over here and show you. There's the scan of it. Get out. And they're not being allowed to like see so many things like underneath the Sphinx, right? Like they're not allowed to be in there. And of course, the head guy of the archaeology went in there and said, "Oh no, there's nothing in there at all. There's nothing underneath the Sphinx, nothing at all." Okay, anyway. So the battle between science and archaeology right now, I'm nerding out on. And that's huge. That's conspiracy theories that just make anything you watch on the History Channel 2 months ago not worth watching. Yeah. Oh, so the Egyptians found this and the Romans did this. Yeah, there's other stuff they found, like global techie and stuff too, right? But now having these drones that can see through, and even cooler is when they go to places that are all under brush, that have all grown over, and they fly these drones in, and they're like, "There's a pyramid there." Like, no, that's not a pyramid. Watch this. Hold my beer. Yeah, cut, dig. There it is. The archaeologist is like, you know what I mean? Like. Yeah, it's great. So I'm really enjoying the battle between scientists and archaeologists right now. As a matter of, but the conspiracy theory wise, the funny thing is, it's that it's not a big conspiracy when you find things that are underneath something that's already built. It's common knowledge. But to watch these people scattering for their careers, these rich people scattering for their careers, always makes me laugh.
Yeah. Dan, you like a good conspiracy theory?
Well, I hadn't actually heard the thing about the Egyptian architecture not built on something else. That's interesting because it's all in sand. So even if you leave a rock on top of sand, eventually the sand's going to swallow it. But if you put a rock on top of a much larger rock that's surrounded by sand, that rock won't sink. Yeah. So if you have, I don't know how heavy a pyramid might be, but I imagine it's pretty heavy and it's sitting on sand and they haven't collapsed or anything. So I could see there being something underneath.
Yeah. And then you see the archaeologists, they can't physically dig down that far, but these scanner drones they have nowadays or whatever, man, they go way down and they can't see what it is, but like, okay, this structure, it goes down to here. No, it doesn't. No, it does. Look here. We'll show you the computer. There it is right there. No, that's not it. No, that's like a reading of how far down this building goes. Get it?
Yeah, you can just ping it. Wow, that's impressive.
Well, haven't we learned, especially over, I mean, conspiracy theories in general, all the way around, are always like half it's like, ooh, that's interesting, and then the other half is like, right. So he just.
Well, I get a kick out of, and these scientists are so low key on it, and they're just these nerdy dudes with their khaki shorts coming in, and they're, you know what I mean, and they're just here's my $3 million drone that I got a loan, or I got from my school or my university or the government that gave me a grant to get, and here I am.
Yeah.
And they fly their drone over top, like, and they bring it back to their computer, and they sit there and they say, and they're showing their tour guides and people who know stuff about it, and you can see their minds just going boom, like, whoa, what that, wow.
Never thought of that. Yeah.
It's so cool. I love it. I just love it. But the funny thing is too, is that this is what I think is kind of funny about it, is that television wise, they've just blown away any kind of documentary on this. Well, here's what we've discovered. Here's what we think. Nope, wrong. Not what next. Not watching that anymore. And that's, I just find that so hilarious how they've wiped out like all these documentaries that now mean shit. Oh, I get a kick out of it. I love telling my parents this. See, they're watching this right now too, and my parents love this too, because I'm always like, you got to watch this documentary because, well, blah blah blah. And I'll say, well, if you watch this, and they're like, and we'll have dinner. Like, huh, that was really interesting. Like, wow, because the scientists nowadays are mind blowing with the stuff they're finding. So anyway, I'm really up on the conspiracy theory stuffs right now, especially with history. It's really blowing my mind, and it helps for writing purposes, I find. Writing off of relatable stuff, that's what Jack Kirby was all about. I just picked up some stuff about him going off the new gods, and at the end there, before Jack died, he was drawing his idea of what the universe looked like and stuff out there. It was really cool. So good inspiration for drawing, so you're not drawing like the normal or writing the norm that everybody. I always try and come up with one idea and then try and multiply it like 3 times. So it's my third idea is like, oh, you can't do that, and it's like, let's do it. That's always a good way to go.
Just do Under the Pyramids. There you go. What's under there?
Well, that's the thing, man. We're going to find out soon enough, man. But they went under there's a document, well, not a documentary, but there's tons and tons of videos that have just been out in the past like 6 months of them finding that hole in the Sphinx. And then that if you saw the head guy of the Egyptian archaeology government section, whatever that sanctions it, he comes in there, right, and covers it all up. He spends 3 weeks in there and comes out and says, nothing. Nah, there's nothing in there, man. And they're all waiting for him. Like the live cameras are waiting for this famous archaeologist. What did you find? What's under there? What's under there? Oh, nothing, man. There's nothing in there. It's like, come on, man. There's nothing at all. Go away.
Nothing is a year.
I just did some time
all over YouTube, man. Like go for the hidden room under the Sphinx, and they show it in detail because everybody's pissed off about it, right? Because the guy that found it got kicked out of there, and then they swooped in, and there's a ladder that you can see. This ladder, there's this like bronze or gold ladder that you take to go down to wherever. Oh man, yeah, it looks really cool. So, and this is all stuff that's happened in just lately. I can't watch anything from last year on now because it's all been disproven. You know what I mean?
Well, isn't that all
anymore.
of them though, Chris? I mean, every single conspiracy theory has its rabbit hole, and then all of a sudden someone comes out with something new, and then you go like, "Well, I can't watch those anymore."
It's the science though, dude. As I say, like as soon as you can X-ray through the ground, and like Dent said, man, like what is under the sand? There's parts of the ocean and spots that they haven't gotten to yet as well. What's down there? We don't know. But I just think it's awesome how all these people think that, oh man, this is what happened. This is happening. Nope, you're wrong. I just love it when these guys are proven wrong, when they're so sure that don't think outside of the box. Here's what happened. But if you go back to how long people have been proven wrong, man, there's where you get your real stories from, right? Like being creative, because holy cow, everything relates back to being scared, being controlled.
Before the internet, they had to go to the library and take a book out.
And that was way too much work. Now you just Google stuff and you actually get video content, That's why I say, Dent, you got a great gig for your kids there, man. What you do is you get those little hidden cameras out in the forest and you just make shit up. And you get a YouTube channel for I'll be a guy watching and going, whoa, see that? What the hell was that? So you get a camera out like in the middle of your forest where you're doing stuff, and it's like a casual one, and dress up the youngest one in something, just have him shadow by dancing or something, right? And we catch on here. You know what I mean? You'll get so many hits; it'll be hilarious too. That'd be really good. Cool. And then we can talk conspiracy theory about that. That'd be great.
Live from Dent's cottage.
Oh, how cool is that? Yeah.
It's amazing. We've got all kinds of little secret society things. I mean, I've said too much, but we can do that. We do have a couple of cameras handy that could do things like that. You heard it here
people
first.
Eat that up. People eat that up. It's really entertaining. I like that stuff.
What's your favorite conspiracy theory, Dent? What's one that you can get? What's the one that you can get behind? One that you're like, I dig this.
Oh boy, there's
the moon one.
Not with that. The moon one. That's a really good one, actually, because you can prove it and you can disprove it at the same time. So, how exactly do you have pictures from the moon in the late 1960s, and there are no stars in the atmosphere around the moon?
Right.
It's the simplest one that I can think of. You can take a picture of anything in the sky, and there's stars, and there weren't any clouds or anything on the moon that I could see. So I imagine that the stars is the big thing for me. If somebody could explain that in a way that
do you think Kubrick? Here's one thing that they've one theory for the moon thing that I kind of did, because it's Kubrick and he's my buddy, man. I just worship Stanley Kubrick. That they went to the moon, but there was no way they could film it up there because they don't have that technology at that time to actually film on the moon. So they did it, but they redid it with Kubrick, and he got this wicked camera out of the deal so he could film 2001.
Right, Space Odyssey. Well,
I could get behind that.
So they filmed it after. They actually went to the moon, but they couldn't film it because they didn't have the filming, like the camera equipment that would work up there or something. So the film footage we're seeing is, pardon me?
That shit was heavy back in the day. So it'd be like having at least 2 other crew members on board the
Okay, that's it. You know what, dude? Yeah, that's what. Yeah. So when they got back, they got Kubrick to just refilm it, and in gift of doing that, they gave him this amazing camera, this amazing gear, so he could do 2001 and blow everybody's mind.
Okay,
I can get behind that.
That's a cool one, though. Huh? I love that one.
Because then you're a camera guy. You like a good camera. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of the time, it's not necessarily the camera, but it's the situation you find yourself in. Like GoPro, for example, you can use them anywhere. You could be in a hotel room. You could be underwater. You could be up in the sky. You could be in the forest, wherever. But if you don't have it edited correctly or even well enough for somebody to watch, then it's going to be a real challenge. So if you went to the moon and say all of your film was overexposed, or you couldn't broadcast it back to Earth, or whatever the case was, you just failed monumentally. So I'm just going to say, if I was the guy who's setting this up with the space agency and said, listen, guys, it's really foolish to try to take cameras up there and try to broadcast back to Earth. It's just ridiculous. So why don't we set it up in a way that it looks like we did? Because maybe everybody went there, maybe they, I don't know. But why don't we do it so we can guarantee that our audience, the American people that just paid for this, why don't we guarantee that they can see what they just paid for? Simple as that. And then get Kubrick involved and
Okay, and then and continuing on that question that about movies and editing and stuff. So 2001 was that 1960? What year was that out?
Oh boy, I want to say 69.
70s, right? 70s.
I was going to say 69 as well. But anyway, so is that, when I watch that movie, I feel like that the standard of the effects and stuff I find is as rad as a lot of the stuff today. So as being a person as yourself who's been into filming and editing, how far ahead of its time was it for being released in the late 60s? Or is he just super clever? Is he just that friggin' clever?
1968. I just
perfect. Yes. Okay, Dent. So is he that clever, or did he have a little leg up on a technology from filming?
Well, the only thing that I've heard of that Kubrick really didn't like was when there was a juice box being drank from, the way the fluid, the juice or whatever, went up and then didn't stay up and went back down. So that was like the only thing that he couldn't perfect for that particular movie.
Yeah.
And if you've got everybody in your crew that knows exactly what you need, that can do all of that, what they did, and to this day, it still stands up as a monument of space movies. How much leeway did he have, really? Because
he always said that was
supported.
Yeah, the thing about Kubrick too, I think it was after Barry Lyndon, or maybe nobody was allowed on his set. He had total control. And there's some funny stories of I think it was in Full Metal Jacket that one of the D'Onofrio was talking that there was all these guys coming. They'd show up occasionally in these big vans with these windows in them, and they weren't allowed to come out of the vans. And they say to Kubrick, "Who are those guys?" "Oh, they're from the movie company. They're not allowed to come out." So they would come and show up, but they wouldn't be able to come out of the van to talk to anybody. That's how much control he had once. I can't remember when that started, but eventually that's how it's. And then he, of course, moved to England and had it all so he could do it locally where he wanted to control, right? I love Kubrick. I think I've discovered every Easter egg in The Shining. I really want to do actually a lecture on it because I've discovered even some things that I haven't seen online. I've discovered in The Shining that I think are really cool. But Kubrick is incredible to me. The way that guy's mind works, and so the space stuff though, right? Like, because it's funny because it almost looks like some of history how they made some really cool things. And then the quality of it dropped off for some reason. It was weird how that happened. So it almost seems like in space films, he did that film, then the quality kind of dropped off, and then it jumped back up again. Because Star Wars, the original cut, is not as good graphic-wise as 2001: Space Odyssey, which is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the resources he must have had, just money to pour at it.
I should have wrote down the name of the camera, dude, because there was the document I was reading had the name of the camera that he was apparently given at that time, and it was some incredible camera that he was given back in the late 60s that helped him do so much stuff. I wish I wrote it down. There's a couple things that the government apparently gave him. It was a great article, like a really, really, really cool article. So there must have been a YouTube thing to back it up as well, but awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
There's so many rabbit holes to go down on that, and Kubrick especially. He gets
and Brent, I bet you your favorite conspiracy theory is JFK.
I dig it. I think they touched on it in The Irishman real well, and I think that's the most.
Yeah,
I think that's a good one. Honestly, I was going to say one thing before I get into that. I was just in Vegas, and I got some friends down there. So the Area 51 thing is pretty hilarious too, because you had all those crazies that are like, we're going to protest and we're going to drive and we're going to do the whole thing.
We're going to just come in.
Those guys are just like, okay, come on. And they just take you out.
Yeah.
There's holes in those deserts out there full of people driving to Area 51. So it's kind of funny that area, even though they talked for years about, when Trump was like in there, he's like, I'm opening up the books. It's going to be great. Everyone's going to learn everything about aliens. And then even he got in there and he's like, I guess we can't open that book yet.
Yeah. Well, if you go back further, they've all said it. Like I think Reagan said it, and so did Clinton. Clinton said it. I remember him saying it. And then when he came out of the time that he was supposed to go in and see him and talk to everybody about this, he had a very different opinion on it. So somebody shows these people or tells them something that makes them a little afraid, right? It's probably the same thing where they see it and they're like mind blown. Yeah, the society cannot handle this right now. There's far too many idiots out there. So they've probably seen something, you know what I mean?
The JFK thing is an interesting one to me, because if it was a mob hit, just say it was a mob hit, because people are going to be like, yeah, okay. Everyone was getting whacked back then. Let's just say that he was taken up by a mob. But I love the theory of it, the fact that, his dad was like pro mob. He came in, him and Bobby were like, we're going to change it up a bit. And they're like, well, your dad's dead. We're done with you. And that's it. I would get behind that from the standpoint of like, either he was just crazy and he was killed, like, the guy killed him, that's it, or it was a mob hit. And I think there's still a little bit too much evidence there that's proving that there was probably more than one shooter there, I'm thinking.
Well, yeah, and the whole reason that the whole usual security guard system was like not the same, and that's a good one. That's a huge one. That one's a massive conspiracy theory. I love it.
You have to look at the detail right off the bat. You've got President of the United States, the leader of the free world, in an open car, driving down the street where there's high ground where anybody could just take a shot at him. So it sounds
the way they slow down.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it was not well thought out security-wise to begin with. So, you know,
yeah,
I'm just
they were.
back.
Did you watch The Irishman yet? Then did you see?
Yeah,
The
that's pretty
Irishman?
cool.
That whole theory
and
on
some
it.
dudes liked it or watched it. I watched it with a couple of good buddies, and they hated it. And I thought, how could you not like this? Wow. And just
I was saying to Chris last week, the CGI, like the technology of the de-aging was cool, except for the fact that Robert De Niro is still almost 80. So when he's actually trying to beat up somebody, he's still an 80-year-old man trying to beat up somebody. Mm-hmm. So you're not 40 like he was in Casino, or he was in Goodfellas, where he's a little bit more like, you can throw a punch. This one he's like, a little slow. So it didn't quite have this. Chris, it was kind of like watching Vince McMahon last night try to wrestle at 80 years old, and Stone Cold throw a punch last night at 60 years old. You're kind of like,
I did like that movie though. I watched it. I watched it in two sections. I think I had to teach a lesson or something. I don't remember, but I watched it in two sections, and I loved it. I thought it was real. I like that stuff. I thought it was really cool. Really cool. Great actors involved.
The only issue I liked the whole story part of it. But I do think that and I love Scorsese, but I do think he tried to make it a little too, like, I almost felt like he got caught in his own shit, and he's like, well, Goodfellas was this, and I got to make another mob flick, and there's a bit of like, there's they're speaking in the background, and they're doing the whole thing, narrating it and all the rest of it. I think he almost got caught within himself. So it was almost like too much of a Scorsese over the, where they're like, we're doing this, and they were trying to echo Goodfellas just a little bit with the narrative and all the rest of it. But overall, I dug it. And the Pesci would like to come out of retirement and to do that performance at 80 years old was like,
he doesn't look 80. He's like, Pesci did a great job, man. Loved it. And did you see the interview with everybody afterwards?
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's maybe 10, 12 minutes, something like that. But the interview, it's just a conversation about how they made the film, and it was great. And Pesci himself, he was so thankful. He thanked everybody for bringing him out and bringing him back and giving him a career again. Mm-hmm. That was really impressive.
My favorite scene from that actually was that bit with when he's just sitting alone with De Niro and they're eating bread at the beginning, and De Niro's telling him about him being in World War II, and he's just he's talking Italian to him, and they're having a little bit of, I'm like, that is some classic Pesci De Niro right there. Yeah. It was great. It was really, really good. So I dug it. My favorite, not really, but great. I love all the theory stuff in it. The JFK stuff was awesome.
Yeah.
And that guy's pretty controversial who wrote the book, because all the mob guys have come out and said, he's lying, because they all want to take credit for Hoffa. And it's like, whatever.
Well, I don't want to brag, but I did,
I know where Hoffa is. We just played tennis,
I've watched a lot. I've had a few documentaries on that too. It's it looks like his best friend put him down there. Yeah, the Irishman.
Makes sense. It's not very glamorous as him buried underneath a casino in Vegas.
They can't all be, right? They can't all be. But yeah, great story, man. But anyways, I love conspiracy theories. I said, I'm sitting around drawing, I got to put something on that I can listen to. If I put something on that's too distracting visually, so I like to listen to stories and stuff like that. Another one, again, is like the disappearance stories in the woods and stuff like that are great.
Oh, man.
Those are so cool. The one I just watched was that I really enjoyed, and it was just a guy talking. It was about people that were last seen running into the forest, and some of those stories were, and they're all true stories, right? There was three true stories, man, and they were great. And they didn't need no pictures. It was just this guy that talked like this, and he does these. I can't remember the name of his channel, but tons of them. And he just talks like this, and then the gentleman just ran into the forest, and nobody saw anything from him again. So let's back it up a bit, folks. So this is when he tells you these hunting stories or these outback stories. The camping stories are so creepy. The camping stories always get me because I hate camping. But I don't know, being out in the middle of the woods in a tent, and all these people have these tents where what are those tents where your feet hang out of?
Pup tent?
I guess.
Yeah,
I guess
you're talking like just a teepee hiking tent kind of thing.
I guess if you're a hiker and you go because you don't want to carry a lot of stuff, right? So I guess they have these tents now where your feet hang out. And some of these stories are just like, you gotta be kidding me.
Didn't anybody learn anything from arachnophobia?
Like, what the heck, man? Yeah. And then some of the ones where the trail cams pick up things are so cool. And whether it's somebody effing with me or not, it's just fun. I love watching those. I get a kick out of them, you know. But you guys could do something really cool. That's what you get the kids to do for their jobs, a YouTube channel. And they can just make, as I say, just dress them up in like even like a skin suit and have one of them dance by the camera. Oh my God, was that an alien? No. And then you do this. And then you have to do this. Did you see it?
Did you see it?
Show anything. You could show a branch moving and then just quiet, still frame and go, did you see it? And dude, you'll have tons of viewers.
You know, it's wild. For probably the last 18-ish years, I've been out on a lot of lakes and out in a lot of different forests. I'm headed to Saskatchewan this week, actually. And we've been on the active hunt for any sort of Sasquatch, Yeti, whatever. Never see a thing. It's always the guys that want to see it that never do.
Well, you know what, dude? You might have to help the video situation a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
We got him out here.
You might have to that kind of looks like something. Film it. Film it and then jerk away quick.
We
got him out here. We see them all the time, Dent. It's fine. They're just running around. It's fine. Yeah, it's good, man.
I'll bring some trail cams. Bring these guys.
Those videos, man, they get tons of hits, and I'm one of the people that watch them and listen to them. I think they're great. I love them. And some of them you can tell are really fake. And other ones are kind of like, well, that's kind of fake. And other ones like, how the hell did he do that? That's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm not a big ghost guy. Ghosts don't really scare me because it's hard to believe that, like, when everybody dies, that they have a ghost here, because that's a lot of ghosts. There would be about 1 million ghosts in my room right now if everybody who died had a ghost that was everywhere. It would just be insanity. So ghosts don't really scare me. So when I see them, I'm more like, how did you do that? That was great. You know, which I love. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, ghosts are. We live next door to a big graveyard that dates back to the early 1800s, and there's nothing out there. Nothing. I've waited, been up on full moons, anything you could possibly imagine. Very foggy, got the flashlight out. There's no ghosts.
No.
What do you think overall, though, Dent? Do you think it's possible that they can exist, though?
Sure.
Because I like the poltergeist theory of them being just lost.
Right.
Well,
like
it's possible.
Like they're a lot. I dig that
again.
Theory.
But again, you know who I think? Sorry, you know who I think was the very best theory? Is Kubrick. Is that if something important happens in a very, if something crazy happens in somebody's life, they leave an imprint. Their spirit doesn't stick around, but they'll leave an imprint of themselves. If, like, say somebody got killed in a room, they will leave an imprint of themselves in that room. Their spirit doesn't stick around and everything, and it's not like they stay; they leave an imprint. And wow, again, Kubrick, he's like, he gets it. Like, the guy is so brilliant. But that makes a lot of sense, because there's a lot going on. We heal. I find it amazing that you cut yourself a heel, just for one thing, but there's amazing other things that we do as humans. So to think that we're just gone is kind of sad. It almost like, man, we worked this hard to become like this kind of a person, we're just gone. So I love that imprinting idea. If it's an important event, you leave an imprint. Oh man, that's awesome. But again, Kubrick, he was genuinely a genius, though, I believe, wasn't he? He was like,
seems like, yeah. I don't know how you'd measure genius, really, especially artistically, but you've got a certain something that no one else can attain or acquire or even figure out how to do the way you do it, then it's very likely you're a genius.
It's good.
In a positive way. I mean, if you're a serial killer, let's not say that there's
right. Don't go that route. One thing, Dent, that I love about Kubrick's work, and there was one thing that most people say, and I always work with too, especially even with my drawing. It's like cut. Like, don't let the scene go too long. Don't drag out the process of what I'm drawing. Get to the point of what's going to happen in your story. Where Kubrick does the opposite. He just sits on the person's face. You know what? He works with the actors, so on their strengths or the scene, he'll just sit on the scene, and you're thinking, okay, he's going to cut the scene, and he doesn't, and he makes it uncomfortable, or you know what I mean, or it just makes you feel that scene. So, did you notice that about him? That he does the opposite. He lets it. It's almost like the Family Guy does it for humor. They sit there for too long on a clip, right, or on a scene. Whereas Kubrick would do it with the opposite. He would do it more for like to creep you out, but he would pick where to put the person in the screen or whoever to sit there. But do you notice that about his work, that he doesn't edit quick?
Well, specifically, his work is interesting in that he does hold the edits, And when you watch what he edits too, like the very next shot is going to be either so in the moment with what you're doing, like an extreme close-up of something that your one character's focusing on. Your example of Space Odyssey, where you've got Dave floating around, and then the HAL 9000, you go right in on the little tiny dot that is the light of the HAL 9000. So you go from one character that's hanging there in space, and that shot is extremely long, and then bink. And then you could take another look at somebody else who uses something entirely different, like, how about Alfred Hitchcock? Alfred Hitchcock, for example. He knew the value of film as in the actual literal cost of the film. He made over 100 movies, and I don't think I could name more than 8 of them, maybe 10.
That's a good point, though, about the cost of it. Yeah.
The cost, he knew exactly what his business was. So when he had to make something that might be too expensive, like in the shower scene of Psycho, it's all left up to the imagination of the audience. So you don't actually see blood stabbing wounds. You just see the blood, which wasn't even blood, it was black and white, so it was cheaper to make it. Right. And so you see chocolate syrup going down the drain. And I thought, that you brilliant bastard, you just saved everybody a lot of money. That's smart. Yeah. Kubrick, on the other hand, was spending a lot of money, and his art was completely different and very beautiful.
It's interesting, Dent, because to that side, if you look at to the point that everything's on digital now, so I talked to a music producer a couple weeks ago, Diesel out of Oshawa there, Jeff, and he was saying the problem with music is that there's no A&R departments anymore. So everyone is actually making whatever they want, and no one's telling them whether it's good or bad, which is fine. But he goes, the thing is, there's got to be somebody there to say that kind of works, but not, you should try it like this. And film, because people can make any kind of film they want, and they can do with the rest of it. With digital, you can just cut and reshoot. It's not costing you as much money other than man hours, but the digital print itself, people are just making films like crazy because they've just got endless amount of storage to just make whatever they want. So film has changed in an interesting way. Do you think it's, to your point about less is more with Hitchcock? Is it too much now for film? Is there too many options now? Because who says no? Who edits it down? You edit. Who decides? Who edits?
Well, luckily for me, I'm trusted with the work that I work on, and while it still goes through everybody for a series of approvals, they trust me to know what I'm doing. So if you have, say, for example, you're making a movie and it's a love story, and you've got this beautiful actress and this leading man and everything's going great, you can do it very simply. You have a series of shots and a storyline that always works. And I think probably the Hallmark Channel, they only have 2 or 3 scripts, and they have, they only make the same film over and over again, and it always works. But to go back to your example of Kubrick, I don't think he made the same story twice, did he? I can't think of.
No, he went for different genres of films, right? Barry Allen, he lit the whole thing with candles like it would have been lit from that era, and he won an award for that. And then, so he would do different films, and apparently by the time he got to, well, it's funny because if I watch Clockwork Orange now, I laugh, and I think it's a comedy. When I was younger, I watched it, was like, oh, and it was like, it's an English gang, and now I watch it and it's like tongue in cheek, and I'm like giggling, and I'm looking at Lonnie going, whoa, I shouldn't be laughing at this, should I? It's like, but no, it seems it's a funny movie. It stands up that way. So he's doing different movies. When he did The Shining, apparently he was just bored with making movies. So we thought, okay, you guys ready? Here we go. And boy, did he ever give it to us with The Shining. It's so awesome. Like, it's just, I gush when I talk about The Shining.
Did you watch the new one, Chris?
The new one.
Yeah, the Ewan McGregor's in the new one.
That's horrible.
It's bad, eh?
Oh my God, that was bad. It was so horror, stabby, violent. It was just like, and kids, like, not on the receiving end. It was. Do you see it, Dent?
No, I haven't.
Oh, don't. Oh my God.
A lot of the time, like the kids and I, we watch a lot of different movies from the 80s now. Like, we just finished watching the Blues Brothers movie. But Blues Brothers 2000, I won't watch it.
No,
because it's not the same movie anymore. So anything Dan Aykroyd wrote or was a really big part of, like Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
I will watch the first 2 for sure, maybe 3. But
the new one's pretty good. The one the remake they did with the girls was kind of a different step that way, but the new one was done pretty well. I think they did a nice little tribute to Harold Ramis there. That was good.
Yeah, cool. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
There's movies like that where you're like, nah, I'm not going to do the reboot. It's not going to happen. Though, trying to think of one that I did like. Maybe it'll come to me. But is there anything you would specifically say was better than the original?
That's a tough one, man. That
is a good question. I don't know.
I mean, Godfather 2, I consider them 1 and 2.
No, but that wasn't a remake. You're talking a remake, right?
Oh, you're talking a remake.
Talking
I guess they're 1 and 2. Yeah. Sorry, as a sequel. So a remake. Yeah, dude, that's tough, man. Because the remakes are
wow. Definitely not Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th.
No, it could never happen again. It's just
nothing. Because they love to do it with the horror movies, right? I can't think of a horror movie.
They're talking about trying to redo a Breakfast Club. It's like sometimes just let sleeping dogs lie. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Well, it's just cheaper for them because they don't have to pay a huge writing fee to somebody. You know what I mean?
How do you? The beauty about those things is like it's also a timestamp, right? So there's a timestamp on things.
I've explained this before.
Who wants a timestamp 2022?
But remember, they come into a boardroom when they have these meetings for these movies.
Yeah.
And sitting at the end of the board table is Bill and Bob. Hey, Bob, how's it going? Pretty good, Bill. How you doing? I'm doing good. Bob, you got the tuna? No, I got the fish. Well, the tuna is a fish. Okay, great, Bob. Let's eat. And then they give Bob and Bill the ideas. And they're like, well, you know what? I really like that idea. But here's what we need. We're going to cut the legs off that guy and put robot legs on that guy. But it's Spider-Man. No, I don't care. It hasn't been done before. Bob, you like that? Bill, I like that. Robot legs are big. Okay, Bob, sushi. Let's go. So Bill and Bob come in and ruin everything.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
Let's have Will Smith fight a giant spider, or it's like, or Superman fight a giant spider.
Superman having a bodyguard. Superman needs a bodyguard. That's like another great one. That's a classic one that they were saying could have and should have happened. There's tons of them. Yeah, it's there's always those guys that come in. Well, look, there's a lot of existing movies that I watch that have those moments in them where I'm like, what the hell? Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. You've got Spider-Man fighting Doc Ock on a building and they're exchanging punches. Spider-Man is full out punching Doc Ock in the face. Pow! Multiple times. Aunt May takes an umbrella and bonks Doc Ock over the head and knocks him the F out. That's where I'm saying is like, Bill and Bob are there going, hey guys, you know what'd be really cool is if the old lady, what's her name? Aunt Flo? No, it's Aunt May. Oh, what if Aunt Flo hit her over the head and knocked her out? Wouldn't that be great? The kids would cheer for it. So you got these two guys in there that just like to ruin everything.
I'm amazed how anything gets approved.
Well, that's because they're in there and they're like related to somebody or somebody's son or you know what I mean? So they're just in there doing.
We're going to do this and it's going to be great.
I have kind of a question about Superman though. Okay, so Superman, superhero, super fast.
Yeah.
And he was incredible with a lot of things, incredibly detailed. He had laser vision. He was very super strong. Why wouldn't he become a doctor? Because he could heal people, like just like that.
Because he's got to defend the earth. Because
you're saying instead of a reporter.
On his off days,
You're saying instead
that's
of
what Doctor Strange. That's what Doctor Strange was, right? And he had to choose between the two. Because look at Doctor Strange. He could have went back and become the world's greatest surgeon. But he couldn't be a surgeon and be the the magician of the gate, the guardian of the gate. He couldn't do both of them. So I'm thinking that's why is that Superman really couldn't do both. What if he's in the middle of surgery and a comet was coming and he had to leave some guy on the table, right?
One of the things they taught. Den, have you watched Superman and Lois? The kids watch Superman and Lois. So one of the things they touch on is how. I'm not giving away too much here, but he's got the kids, and the one kid has the powers, and it's kind of like an early Anakin. It's like he's trying to figure out or the Force, and you're trying to figure out, and he can hear every single voice around the world, and has no idea how to channel it. And his dad is like, you got to focus in to only either hear locally or like they just show this thing.
Well, that's been done with the X-Men though as well, right? Like Jean Grey, actually, little Professor X.
Yeah,
he had the exact same thing.
You got to kind of figure it out. Yeah,
he could hear everybody's thoughts and and then he had to kind of focus it out. So Jean Grey, the same thing.
His commitment to Earth to protect them would interfere with his ability to do anything else because he feels like he's obligated to help everybody. as a superhero.
Well, also too, like Lois gets in trouble every 15 minutes, so he's got to be ready to go and fly and help her when she does
That's
her
right.
Karen moments too, right? Burn, Lois, burn, burn. Yeah.
all
So hey,
fun.
so guess what? So I booked a show in Kingston on August 27th. It's a Saturday, and no, that's not it.
Yeah,
I don't have a graphic for it yet, but I got it started. I'm waiting for a couple bands to confirm. But we're doing a benefit for Zig here, right? And my dog Tim.
Yeah, poor Tim.
Damn.
So what we're hoping to do is at the show have people bring in like food for the animals and blankets, whatever the local shelters need that we pick, and maybe through our show here we can generate a bunch of money for what is it, Dent? That it's letters, right? It's
cystic fibrosis. So it's CF.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation of Canada. I don't have a website off the top of my head, but
no, we'll come up with
we'll get
more.
into all that.
Yeah,
as we get closer to August, we'll start.
Oh yeah, we got
doing
lots
the
of
whole
time.
thing.
I was just curious about, but that's the second benefit, and we want to raise cash through this show for that benefit. And at the show itself, I want people to bring out food and stuff for the animals. So that's for Tim.
Well, Chris,
for Zig.
Around your birthday too, like Facebook does give you the option, so I definitely think we should tag cystic fibrosis as your birthday thing.
Yeah,
and be
definitely.
like, hey, we'll do that. And then because we just did it for in Edmonton and we raised like $2,500. So I think we can get there on this thing too. So
we did good there.
That'll be good. Speaking of a guy who left a
there's Mike Bryant.
legacy.
Mike Bryant's chatting at us.
Mike Bryant. Speaking of a guy who left a legacy.
There's
this is
Zig right
Cracking Not Stirred. There he is. Okay. There he is, Cracking Not Stirred. Somebody told us, gave us some swear words the other day, Mike. Sorry, we it was also, I think, a Kraken person.
Awesome. Yeah, Dan, we get trolls on here, and because I know it too. They'll come on and they'll be like, "Hi guys," and you look at the name and it's like, "Okay, hey buddy, how's it going?" And they'll be like, "F you guys are bumholes," and it's like, "Woo, yeah, get him." But that's when you know you got a lot. Like that's
bring it on, everybody, bring it on.
But you got a lot of
uh,
viewers when that happens, right? When you get the trolls,
this guy would have loved all this shit. Now,
yeah,
Zig, we want to pay tribute to this guy. 10 years since we've lost him, and geez, what a legacy that he left. And I think every day about how ahead of the curve he was on a bunch of stuff, especially on the internet side of things with his reviews that he was doing. Could you imagine Zig on social media now? He'd either be off it completely because he would have just, gone.
Oh, they would have hunted him down and
gone Twitter battle, or he would have been off it completely, or he'd be changing the game in some capacity. But
he wouldn't be allowed anywhere, dude. Nobody would. You know what? And he wouldn't be able to go anywhere. It'd be all over publicly for him, especially nowadays. Yeah, with the way with the whole deleting anything that was ever offensive. Zig was offensive, and he loved it. But that was just how he rolled. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. He'd be living in one of our basements right now, just doing stuff on the internet.
He was so ahead of it, man. And I wow, like I think about it all the time, because all this stuff that we talk about on a weekly basis, Chris, and all the rest of it is one thing. But what would Zig be thinking right now about all this shit that's going on? It's just crazy. Like, I mean, this is the greatest picture in the history of there's this one. These two are the two single greatest pictures of represent every single thing you need to know about Zig. It's like, there's that, and then just the greatest one line in the history of everything. In the history of things, Look Out Kiss is the single greatest line I've ever heard in the history of things. And 10 years, I mean, I can't even believe it's been 10 years. And thanks guys for sending this picture. This was great. This
Stent sent that to me, and
I really appreciate it.
It was a chain.
And it just never ends. Like, my kids are on the Uncle Buck plan now. Like, we have my son's got that Casio. Like, he uses it every single time he see, like Andrew he just did so much for everybody. And
hey, it's me. He married my wife and I, right? Like, he was the there he is again. He was the what do you call that? Master ceremonies.
Yeah.
He officiated.
He officiated it.
He married my wife and I, which was really cool. What a great way to look back on that. Yeah, and there's my wife and Zig right there. Yay, Lonnie, there you are.
Yeah. Then I have one of you from the Just you guys talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I'm gonna find there's one from your wedding too, which is great. So
nice. There you go. Yeah, Zig used to live by it's the Leon Center now. I think it was the K-Rock Center before. Now it's the Leon Center. Every time I drive the welding area, I think everything's still there. I haven't driven past there since before COVID, so it's been 2 years. Wow. Imagine it's the same now still, because I don't think much changed during COVID. So, but every time I drove by there, you see it, and it's just like time stands still in that little area, which a lot of stuff does in Kingston. Actually, it's pretty good that way. The clientele in Kingston keeps a lot of stuff in business, which is good. It's really good.
Yeah, it's very local economy. It's good that way. And personally, I look forward to the day I can actually move to Kingston. We've discussed it, my wife and I, at length a number of times. We've looked at houses there. It's just one of these days we'll figure it out, because it's probably one of the most civilized places I've ever been, with a fantastic art and music scene. And it's just got such a good vibe. So I can see why Zig went there.
Yeah, he
moved
really
from
wanting to come
Oshawa
back here for sure.
Yeah.
Plus, we all know we know people who run great shows. I went and saw the Cancer Bats and Comeback Kid a couple weeks ago. There, man, that was a good show. That's where our show is going to be. Is at the mansion there. That was a great show. But here's the cool thing about that show. So Mark was running that show. Started at 6:30. Was over at 10:30. Thank you very much.
It's the Chris special,
dude. I was like, so Mark's like, my show's end at 10:30. I'm chatting with Mark about it because the show's starting again, right? And he had a bunch of them coming up, like popping this and that. And he said, "Yeah, my show's over at 10:30, man. Beer cheers, right?" And I'm thinking, I wish. And nope, he was being serious, man. That was great. But I got to share one funny moment. I hope Mark's watching because this was great. So we're at the gig, right? And I'm just hanging out with Mark and we're shooting the shit. And this great big bouncer comes up to Mark and he says, and we both couldn't hear him. Mark looks at me, looks back at the guy says, and Mark says, Moosehead. The guy kind of looks at him, shrugs his shoulders, walks away, comes back, gives him his moose head. And Mark's like, what did you like? Mark's asking me, did you hear what he said? And I was like, no, I don't know what he said. So he comes back. What did you say, man? I'm sorry, I didn't hear. He goes, well, I was just saying, don't you ever do anything but work? Or don't you ever do any work? And Mark's reply was, yeah, Moosehead. It was like, Moosehead. It was the best burn, and he didn't realize he did it, right? And the bouncer was huge too, so it was really funny. Don't you ever work? Sure, Moosehead.
There you go, Dent.
That was a good burn.
There you go.
Oh, there's a good one too. Look at that.
There you go.
It's so funny. The Chucks, I got him. It's I tell you,
I want to dress like that just every day.
Just every day. Yeah, if we start doing that on this show, yeah, we probably still all fit in our shit too. I'm thinking. Yeah, it hasn't gotten quite there yet.
Did we ever take those back?
Dent still got them.
Did we ever take those back? I don't think we did.
The shoes? No, we don't take them back. What happens is I collected Zigs, and that's only because he passed on shuffled off the mortal coil. He's no longer with us. So I took his shoes, and they stay with mine. But my shoes, whenever there's a fun event, the very shoes I got married in, I wear them, like nice. Saturday when I took this picture, I was wearing those shoes, and it was pretty cool, man. It was great. The ground is still a little bit hard in Ottawa where that picture was taken. He's in the Canadian National Cemetery at Beechwood.
I'm going to be in Ottawa in a couple of weeks. Then I got to go check it out.
Oh yeah, I got the location for you. It's really easy to find. The ground was still very hard, so it took a long time for those 6 beers to sink into the ground. And there was this lady walking by. She had to be probably 80. She's walking by, super friendly. She's apparently there every weekend. Hey, there you go. And she says, "Oh, did somebody leave a mess of beer cans there?" I said, No, I'll clean them up. "Oh, you brought those beer cans?" I said, "Yeah, I'm just having a beer with my buddy." And she goes, "Oh, you're not allowed to drink in the cemetery." I am not cemetery. Everything's fine. And she then went on to explain everything about her life and her family. And I don't remember much of that, but it took a long time for that beer to soak in the ground. That was pretty cool.
Then you should have been like, she was like, you can't drink in a cemetery. You'd be like, well, clearly you don't know me.
She just kept asking why. Why?
I mean, the cemetery is only the 180th thing I've drank in on the list.
There was a time.
But
I think my reputation is still received. I
it's
got to see
there.
my cousin. Yeah.
It's there. Legacy of the man, because guys, like, you know, he was obviously in our camp first and then spread out to other camps after that, and it just started getting, you know, people just wanted him around all the time. And Lonnie, and I sent it to Lonnie and Ryan and those guys, and they loved having him around the Mudmen. He actually made a shirt for Lonnie, you know, from the Mudmen, and who wears it to this day. Like, the guy just had this impact on all these guys. At first he was like, people don't know how to take him, and the next thing you know, it's like he's just ingrained. And one of the things I loved most about the DJing and the stuff that he did at all these different places is like eventually just got to the point where he knew every single person in that bar, and if they didn't, and he would just play songs for them. And Zig would DJ for that one moment in the back where the guy would be like, yeah, he would just yell, and it could have been any song by any band, but Zig played it for that guy or girl for that 5 minutes, and it could have been on a Thursday night at 10 o'clock at just a random spot, and he just loved doing that. And when he would make that connection with people, man, that was like one of the greatest things you would ever, like, just the joy in his face when he knew he would drop a mixtape on you that would just change your whole world. It was awesome, man. It was amazing. What do you think on the legacy on this guy? I mean, what he left behind for everybody, you know?
Well, honestly, I think it'd be a good idea. I've given this a little bit of thought, and hopefully I can contribute a little bit to this show coming up in August. What I'd like to do, because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Zig was quite a prolific photographer, and he was very good at it. He had an eye. Well, maybe the technology wasn't quite as great, or the technology wasn't available that was as great as he probably should have had. His photos are amazing. So I was thinking what I would do is I'd print some good size, and then maybe we can auction them off at the mansion, so that
Great plan.
they can go to the cause. Some of his work is really, really beautiful, and I'm very lucky to have some of it myself. So I'd like to just share it. I'm sure he would. And there's some pictures from around Kingston that people will see it and go, "Oh, I know where that is. It's from Wolf Island, or it's from." There's a armory there. There's a lot of really cool stuff he did. So I was thinking maybe I'd supply a little bit of art. See how it goes.
I love it.
That's great. Great idea.
What they did last time I was there, which is great. Remember how it's 2 floors, right? Instead of cramming all the merch upstairs in the corner, they just had merch booths downstairs in the pub, and it was great. So you could chill and have a drink and order something to eat and go up and peruse the merch. You know what I mean? So we could have a whole wall of Zig's pictures. Be really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
We got to sell this picture.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get a quality printable. I mean, I might have to redraw that one, dude.
Yeah, I know. God, and a Casio. It's just like, it's amazing. So, man, 10 years. I can't believe it, but what a legacy this guy left, and he's every single day. I mean, he's just with us with everything that we do. To your point then about the photography, like, it was great. You know what I mean? He was so on top of it.
Yeah, and it's timeless, his work. I've seen folks that have studied for years, decades, and they can't do what he did in seconds. It's amazing. So I would like to think that if he was still with us, he'd be working hopefully with me somehow. And I think he was a way better cameraman than I ever was and could ever hope to be. He had the eye. He's got it. And now that it's been committed to some videos and some stuff online, whatever, it's eternal. So I'm glad to see that happen.
He's so ahead of it too. Speaking of the video stuff, like, God, we got so much great stuff from him, just videotaping every single thing of every single thing. It was the best. Oh my God, there's some great stuff.
That's why people loved having him around, because he document everything that you did. Everybody was getting a hold of him the next day. Those pictures developed yet? You got any pictures yet? Can I see those? You uploaded those? Yeah, cool stuff.
The reviews were amazing. I loved his reviews when he would just it was funny because when he started writing the reviews, he was a little bit kinder, And then as it started going, then it started like we did the show in Ottawa, and he wrote about Goldfinger, and he just he just went after John Feldman pretty terribly about vegan this guy, like he didn't care, and it got to the point where he just hammered, and it was so fun to read. He was just so far ahead of what's going on in technology. We're doing all this right now. Zig, if the second Zig could have done this, he would have been doing this. You know what I mean? Like his show would have been like amazing. Zig was doing podcasts before podcasts. He was doing it in writing form, but he was also just documenting. And his personal connect, like everyone that you speak to, like someone will come to tell you a story, like Lonnie or Ryan or those guys that would be around. And I did tell a story that you didn't know. And Zig just had that individual connection with each individual person. He made each person, if you were in his thing, you had some kind of thing with him. It was, I don't know, very unique. Missed terribly. And I love this idea, Dent. So let's do that. Let's do that for Chris's thing. That's great.
It's not my thing. It's for Zig. Yeah, it's called Showcore. We're gonna do it every year on that weekend of August. So I want to have all bands that put on a show. You know what I mean? Like none of this just standing there and playing noodly stuff, man. You got, if you're gonna play this show, you got to put on a show. I'd love to get I would love to. Mostly I want to get this first one is more about getting a whole bunch of people together to perform for Zig, who Zig would love to have these people on the same show, because there's a lot of people in Kingston who perform, who I mentioned last time. We're gonna hope to go out for a rip. We're gonna hope to re-hate some girl. I hate / something going out for a rip may happen. There's definitely gonna be some Machete songs, gonna be a Caliber songs, gonna do some cool covers with some friends. Jeff from Moist is gonna come up and do a couple songs with me. And as I said, I'm waiting on a couple other bands, but whatever band is gonna play has to put on a show and have some kind of attachment to it, right? Yeah. There's Robbie Gonerman. Hi, Robbie Gonerman. What's up, buddy? That's the youngest of the Gonermans, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Robbie. There you go. Cheers.
What up?
Yeah, so the show's going to happen every year, and it's going to always be a benefit for Zig's foundation, the Zig Foundation, and then for Tim's foundation, my dog. This is
Yeah, poor Tim. He was an amazing character himself.
Thanks, dude. Yeah. So we'll get some food together for his brothers and sisters who need help. I'll just get a hold of them, see what they need dropped off, and we'll get people to physically bring in that, and monetarily we'll get people to donate through the show like we did for the bullying campaign. And it'll be great. And that way I can still pay some of the bands that are coming out, because some of the bands I want to come are coming from kind of far. So it'd be good to actually pay the bands.
Well, yeah. And since Slayer's retired, I don't know if their schedule's opened up at all. Maybe we can make something like that happen.
I'm hoping to get the next best thing.
Yeah.
Well, they did that thing. Them and Anthrax did that, at least a little bit for Zig a couple years ago, which was awesome. So hopefully,
yeah.
I'm still like I haven't. I think I've got like one band really other than my project, and my project's gonna have a few things in it, right? Like what I'm gonna do is gonna have the extra people from Kingston who want to jam some cool stuff. And Dee just lives up the road, right? So I don't know.
I thought she was good for her.
She's she lives up the road from me. I see her all the time. So yeah, so she'll probably come up and perform a song as well. So there's more Sally members that will be up there. And yeah, her band 46 or 47 Teeth or something. They just released an album that's really good, really good. Zig was a big fan of Dee's and her musical life and everything. Yeah.
Well, we miss you, brother, and this is 10 years, unreal. And this is like one of my favorite pictures in the history of things, because it's just there's so much going on in that picture.
Well, we should just say what's going on there. So in that picture, if you're listening on the podcast, well, sorry, but what we got here is our brother Zig in a light blue suit, tie and everything. He's got one of those Colt cigars in his mouth, a drink, and a couple beers on this portable bar on stage right by my Marshall amps and Dent's huge bass cab there. So he's got a half moon shaped bar that you would see in any 70s basement. He's got a couple bud on there, a candle, and some funny looking dude. And what we would do is when we were playing, he would be on their stage there, like drinking and handing out drinks to us or whoever he could from this bar. Of course, you're not allowed to give out free booze to people, so he wouldn't really do that, but he would give the drinks to us and just stand there and be really rad. So that's what he's doing in that picture. That's just, he's side stage at one of our gigs.
I remember,
that's
it might have been Eric. It might have been Eric
Mm-hmm.
Grosvenor or somebody when we did that one time, and he saw it. And Eric's like, "Do you guys have your own bartender on stage?" So I was
Well,
like,
you don't?
You don't? What the hell kind of band do you got?
Why are you even in a band? Come
It
on.
was great. That was just, there's so much that just was everything about where we were as a band at that time too, and all the rest of it. It was just perfect. So, my favorite picture definitely is just right there. So awesome stuff. Well, there we go. Dent. Okay,
I hate Sally's shirt. Awesome.
That was a while ago. He was in my backyard with another lovely human being from Kingston. He was with Laura. Anyway, they dropped by to hang out for an evening, and wow, after that, the pictures got far more drunk. I don't know if pictures can get drunk, but when you look at them, you realize that is the case. But it was a great time, and that was probably 14 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then for the last 10 years, I've thought about him every single day without fail.
Yeah,
Not
he's
hard
done
to
a
do,
lot. And we
that's
used to
for
play those shows for, like, we did the oh my god, there's some good stuff here, man, of him just from the time. But we did that the Machete reunion stuff in your basement, Chris, when we would just play shows and do stuff. And he would come down and jam with us and do everything.
That was after his accident, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it just I remember he
Jim's
came
back. Sorry, there's Jim McDermott. We gotta say hi to Jim. Jim's here every show.
Hey Jim.
Yeah, Jim Dent.
It's a great pick. Thanks for another
Hey,
great show.
Jim.
Thanks, Jim. I remember. So speaking of that, so when he obviously was sick the first time, came out, and then you brought him out west to Whistler, and we hung out. And that was the first time, like, I had seen Zig since, he had come out of the original coma and all the rest of it. And obviously things were just a little different at that point. But so we, he came out and whatever, and we all had a few drinks, and Dent was passed out in the room. And communicating with Andrew at that point was a little different than what we were used to, but we got through it. And I remember Dent was sleeping like this, and the way Dent does. And that's Dent just goes out like a light, by the way, for everybody
Magnificent.
watching. Magnificently, Dent can just sleep. And he was out, and Andrew, like, just out of the blue, just stood up and just slapped him as hard as humanly possible. And Dent's like, "What's going on?" And then that amazing Zig laugh came in. That amazing Zig laugh came in, and that was kind of like, that was it's like he remembered, like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to smack Dent when he's sleeping. Like, he just punched the shit out of him. Dent's like, "What the fuck?" And Andrew just had that big bellowing, like, dying laugh. They just laughed so hard. And I remember Dent being like, "Did you just slap me?" It was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To give you some idea, a little bit of background on that is Zig had an accident at work. Because he had cystic fibrosis that develops into diabetes. It just happens. So he's got to shoot insulin all the time. He's working at a steel yard in Kingston called Kimco, and he falls off one of the trucks. I guess he's kind of running low, sugar, whatever issue. So he ends up in the hospital, ends up in a coma, comes out of the coma like a trooper. He just like, it was just another coma to him. But he's got a bit of a brain injury because oxygen was deprived from his brain for a little while. So he's not 100% Zig at this point. He's got to build it back up. So Zig and I go from Toronto to Vancouver to hang out with Brent. And we get there, we're a little bit jet lagged, but Brent really wants to make sure we get the full experience. So we end up downtown Vancouver, and the sun's starting to set. And seeing some interesting folks come around corners. And this is one thing I'll never forget. We were right beside an ATM, and there's two cops just standing there doing their job. And Zig, I guess we'd had a couple of beers or something, which is really not what diabetics are supposed to do, especially terribly jet lagged. And Zig just is standing there for a second. He gets this look on his face like, here it comes. And he barfs all over this ATM down the side of it. And one of the cops looks, Sig is barfed all down the left back leg of this cop. So I'm thinking, we're in trouble, man. Oh, so the cop looks at Zig and he goes, she doesn't look like a junkie or anything. And he sees Brent and I standing there having kittens, trying to figure out what to do next. The cop's like, all right, guys, got this under control. Have a good night. And we just walked away just like that. So we got away with puking on a cop. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've got...
Unlike every other trip that you and I had home from a show.
This isn't about us.
No, I was just funny. Like every other time, it's like I drive when we'd have local shows. I'll be fine. Don't worry, we can make it. We'll drive home. It's like, are those cop lights behind us? Shit. What are the chances? Pretty good.
And here's us on
That's the mountain. That's on top of Whistler there. Yeah, that was.
I'm getting lots of comments on my Facebook feed though. We even had Jeff just post on there and said he was looking forward to the show. So
I've got, it's weird about Facebook on this chat now with Restream. Something's not working so hot.
That's okay. I got like tons of comments on my Facebook, and I was giving y'all likes. I'm liking all your comments there, my friends. Excellent.
Let's see what's going on here. Yeah. So
and anyway, yeah. So
things.
Hey, I got that picture up.
Jeff Pierce looking forward to it.
Yeah, there you go.
Christy Mackay. Christy, how are you? And she's saying, great to see you guys. A lot of Machete fans coming out of the woodwork here.
Yeah, there is.
That's good. And
there's lots of comments. It's good. Sometimes we can't see everybody's comments. We apologize, but it just popped up on my phone there. So
yeah. So thanks everybody. Thanks for everybody for checking in on that. And that was.
Yeah, and if you can make it out to Kingston on the 27th, we're gonna have a great party. The venue is amazing. It's 2 floors, so there's a pub downstairs where the merch will be, and you can get some really good food. Actually, there's an outdoor patio, huge patio, and then upstairs where we'll be rocking and rolling. And as I'm an older dude. I really like starting the show at 6:30 and over at 10:30. So here's what I thought: you do this, you have some dinner at this place, this pub, get the drinks flowing, go upstairs, watch some rock and roll. And then we all come downstairs and we reminisce about Zig and drink some more right from 11 o'clock till wherever, right? Like, and you don't have, it's quiet and everybody can more. I like that. I like hanging out. I thought that'd be pretty cool.
And Zig would want the show done early too, because he'd be like, I don't want any of these people around.
See, technically, I'm sure we could find somebody else to play late. I'm sure the Betas would come and play, or somebody else would get them to play late. But I don't know. I think it would be kind of neat if we all kind of went back downstairs and hung out together and maybe put on some Zig mix CDs or something, right? I got a ton of them.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a good idea. That we do the show from 6:30 to 10:30. We go downstairs, we spin Zig CDs and chat and just have fun.
Yeah. 10 years later, he can still DJ. That's cool.
Yeah. How perfect's that? And then I can even go outside and I can smoke some Dube de Jours.
There you go.
Yeah. And then, hey, Jimmy says, nice to meet you, Dent. So there you go. Jim's a good dude, man. He's a good guy.
That's our show for the night.
We went a little over.
That's okay. We're gonna say no. Bonzi's doing something else, and there's a bunch of other people doing some things. But
sorry, guys.
That's all good.
Okay.
We missed this guy. It's been 10 years, but not forgotten. Great event coming up for him in August. That's going to be shaping up to be a nice little thing here, which is rad. And Dent, I love your idea of the thing.
Well, the art wall.
Is the group. This is Team Machete. Hi, everybody. It's only been 30 years together, but here we are, and back together on screen, anyways, which is rad. Paying tribute to the man, the Zig, Stanzig. Rest in peace, brother. You are missed. That's the Kids on the Escalator podcast for a Monday night.
Yeah, good one.
In classic fashion, good times.
Rad dudes.
Yeah, everybody. All right.
Cheers.